Hi guys, this is Hassan Yousefi, and in this video we want to talk about the differences between sudo and su. If you are a Linux user, you have probably seen references to both sudo and su. Sudo and su are two different ways to gain root privileges. Each functions in a different way, and different Linux distributions use different configurations by default. Yeah. The main difference between the two is that SU requires the password of the target account, while sudo requires the password of the current user. Let's go and see the SU first. The SU command stands for substitute user, and it's mostly used for switching from one user to another. Let's create a user and then su to John. Okay, there's two ways to su substitute user. You can use just su and the name, username, or you can use su dash and then John. But let's see our root environment variables. Some of them, for example, uh, our mail variable, path, home login name, as you can see, is root, and others. If you use su John, you change to John, but your environment still for root user. As you can see, your mail variable is for root. On the other way, when you use su-john, it's completely changing to the setting of the target user. And if you see the environment is less than the root, and all environment related to John, such as mail, home, login name, and other things that exist in home directory of John in .profile or .bash file. As you can see here, it's loaded from these files. Okay, it's just it's about su, but the important thing is related to sudo. Sudo is used as a prefix to Linux commands, which allows the logged in user to execute commands that require root privileges. But bear in mind that the sudo options can only be used by users who belong to the sudoers group. How can we check our groups? In CentOS, we have a group for our sudoers, which name is wheel. As you can see, there is no one belonging to wheel group. And in Ubuntu, as you can see here, I have an Ubuntu machine 2. We have a sudo and adm as admin group for sudoers. But how we can change it, or how we can change sudoers privileges, comments, and other things. All of this configuration is stored in a file in /etc, and name is sudoers. as you can see, there are lots of configuration here, and you can check it from the first. But be careful, editing the sudoers file with errors or bad syntax may result in locking out all users on your distribution. So instead of editing it with VI or Nano, you are able to use VI sudo, which realize if any syntax error occur, then warn you. For example, I write something here and then I want to save, and it says there's a syntax error near line 9. What now? You can press E to edit and Q to save and quit, but let's see the options. Quit and save changes to sudoers file. That is danger because it may lock all your users. Or press X without saving changes to sudoers file, or press E to go and edit the sudoers file again, and if we delete it and save again, it's okay. In our sudoers file, we have different aliases. Host alias, which by that you can specify a group of host names and different machines. User aliases, you can group different users. Command aliases, and you can group different commands or with their options. As you can see, there are full path, /spin service, chconfig, and other things. And you can have different group for storage, for admins, for network administrator, or other group you want, and you can change these groups or create your own. And let's go down to the main part, which we define our rules to a group or user. As you can see, our root user has all privileges, and our wheel group, as you can see, there is a percent sign here for group. There is all rules. Take a look at what the different fields mean. Which, for example, what is the meaning of this, or this? I want to write my username John and specify all the rules. Okay, that's the standard format in the sudoers file. The first one is absolutely your user. The second one is all, which means username. That rule will apply to all hosts, or you can specify your alias or for a specific host. Second all is for user. That indicates that the John user can run commands as all users, or for the second one, as all groups. And the last one indicates that the rules apply to all commands. So let's create an alias for commands and apply to John. So if I comment John line, because with this line it acts as a root. If I comment it and then sudo-john and touch a file and change the ownership of that file to root, its operation not permitted, and with sudo said John is not in the sudoers file, this incident will be reported to root. So we want to give a permission to John in order to change ownership of files. For this, we can comment out this group of commands, chown, chmod, chgroup, and vi sudo, or we can delete some of them or create a new one instead of deleting. And we just want to chown and chmod be available to John. Delegate is the command alias name. So we add user John and operating all hosts with delegate with this command aliases. Actually, John now can change the ownership of files. Let's see it. sudo-john, and we want to change the ownership of this file to root, and it's okay. The ownership is changed, and again to John. Okay, that's what's happened when we change the sudoers file, and instead of the user we can specify a group like view or other things we want. If we want to John doesn't enter his password while he want to use sudo, we just use no passwd, as you can see here, for this alias, which means when John wants to change the ownership of that file, it doesn't actually pass his password, as you can check here. So that's the another option, and let's check other options too. Or we can let me check here what commands we have that's suitable. Let me check it. Okay, we want to give to the John the vi sudo permission. For this, I copy it here and change the name to the sudoer. And then I specify here John can use chown with no password, or can use swd, our group, which was what was the group name? Sudoer. Let's use swd for sudoer, or we can use the command here /user spin and vi sudo, or just sudo. And then if we change to John, we can see, you can see our see if it use switch on to change John owner of file F, it's changed. And if we use sudo vi sudo, it changed without asking any password. Let me do this and then sudo, yes, because I used the password before, and we should use password here. And then if we use, we can change the ownership without any password, and that's okay. But what's the sudo dash -c? It's really important. When you use sudo, as you can see in the manual page, there's a timestamp for you that cache your password for a couple of time in order to use it for another command when you use with sudo. So to reset this timestamp, we use -c. It's a really useful command. Actually, this is for security purpose, and you want to clear this timer. Just so you can use sudo dash -c. Let's exit, and again we are sudo our files. So we learn how to add users or groups. It doesn't matter, it's a group or user, and you can just add a % here to specify a group. Let me see the other things. No, just that. And yes, another thing that could, let me change it to here. Another thing, let me sudo-john, and if you are a sudoer, you can see your privileges by #l option to sudo. As you can see here, user John may run the following commands on CentOS: no passwd for chown and chmod, and using password for vi sudo and these other common variables. That's not important for us. There's other options for sudo, for example sudo-i, which of course not executable for John. Let me exit and remove this aliases and John. And this, and add John to the wheel group, which is our sudoer group, with this command: user mode dash append group wheel to John. And if we check the group content for wheel, you can see John is here. So John with sudo, you can do everything that a root user do. But we want to talk about sudo -i and -s, which is really have the same meaning. Actually, as you can see, when I pass -i, my user changed to root. Actually, it starts a new shell, a new bash with root user, and of course it's for -s too. But let me check the manual page for sudo. As you can see, with -i, run the shell specified by the target user's password database in your /etc passwd in the last field. As a login shell, this means that login specific resource files such as .profile or .login will be read by the shell. Or if a command is specified, it is passed to the shell for execution via shell's -c options. For -s, you can see run the shell specified by the shell environment variable. It checks the shell environment at the first, then check your /etc passwd file. What is in our passwd file? DC passwd. As you can see, there is been bash used for our sudo commands or our environment file. The shell is being bash 2. So it's sudo -i and -s is that. And for the last command, we can use -c option. Let's sudo -c, and with this option we can use just a command. And oh, no, I'm sorry, -c was for other thing. It's for counter. For we can use -i or -s to, instead of entering or loading an interactive shell, just execute our commands. Sudo -i, for example, ls. It's run a bash with root privileges, and at that bash execute ls command and show the cout here, or other commands. That's not important. It's in the other it's in the another shell. Okay, that's it. Let's delete our user. Continue because yes, we are again connect to our CentOS. Oh, another point in Ubuntu, I totally forget it. Let me delete our John user and go to our Ubuntu. We told that in our Ubuntu we have sudo and adm sudoer group. As you can see here, etc sudoers. there is admin and sudoer groups with different rules. It's like just CentOS, but I want to share it with you. When you use vi sudo in Ubuntu, what? /etc sudoers is busy. Try again later. Let me check it. I think it's in my another terminal. I'm checking. Okay. It's use nano for change the file or edit the sudoers file, but you can change your editor using this command update alternatives --config for your editor variable. But before doing that, we want to check our environment variables and we want to see the editor variable if we find it. We can find it, so it's the default for system, but we can change it. Update alternatives --config for editor, and you can see different types of editor here, and we want to use vim, which the number is 3. So after changing it, when vi sudo, it opens with vi. So that's it. If you had any question about this video, you can email me, and my email is @gmail, and I will answer you in a timely manner. Thank you for your